Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. On this video this morning, I am going to give you my post-match reaction for the Manchester United Aston Villa game that ended Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 2 yesterday at Old Trafford. This is obviously now our sixth draw in the Premier League season. We are winless now in our last three games, and it is the second time now we have failed to beat a new promoted team. But we know that obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still remains under intense pressure at the football club. But like I did say prior to the game, I did say I think. The next three games, are going to decide whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is staying or whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going. Like I said, I think we need to win. Like I said before the game as well, I think we need to win at least two of our next three games if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure is to be saved at the football club, basically. But I think Solskjaer's probably got 1 week left, if that, to save his job at Manchester United. Solskjaer give his overarching view on the game yesterday. He did take some positives out in the game, but he did admit, we did not deserve to win. He says Solskjaer as well, he hasn't got much concern, regarding our league position. We are currently, sitting ninth in the league. We are in a bad position. We're 8 points behind top four. I'm very sceptical about us getting that top four this season. And we are just 6 points above relegation, so you can quite frankly say, we are in a relegation battle at the moment. But very, very disappointed in that, and we should have beat Aston Villa. There should be a team, that we should be beating, comfortably, because, they've enjoyed a pretty bad start to the season. Let's get on to the goals. So the first goal was from Jack Grealish for Aston Villa. They went 1-0 up just after the 10th minute mark. Jack Grealish, took his goal really, really well. It was a good curling, goal, to be quite honest with you, and that was 1-0 to Aston Villa. And then we got level just before half time. It was well, I thought it was a goal for Marcus Rashford. It was actually, I think, given to Rashford at the first, but obviously, it got classified as a Tom Heaton own goal. To be fair, it was a lovely crosser from Andres Pereira, to find Marcus Rashford. Rashford had headed it, come off the post. I think then it came off Tom Heaton's back, but that was a 1-1. And then obviously, in the second half, in like the 64th minute, Victor Lindelof, of course, scored his first Premier League goal of the season, which was very, very good. Really, really good header, by the way, by Victor Lindelof. So we did well, to turn it around. We was obviously, losing the game and that. But 2 minutes later, Aston Villa, got back level. Tyrone Mings scored for Villa. The game did end 2-2. I think, we didn't register a single shot on target until after like the 20th minute. But yeah, again, it was another very poor performance. And you know what? I do credit Aston Villa, because, Villa, I thought, played really, really well. And I thought, there was a revelation in the game. But I can't really think of one game, this, especially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance, that we have dominated in that. I know, during that 3 month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager, there was, quite a lot of games in that period, where we did dominate and that. But, since he's got the job permanently, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I don't think, we've really dominated the game, for 90 minutes and that. But what I'm seeing now as him being permanent manager is totally comparison, to what I saw, whilst he was the interim manager. And, I thought yesterday as well, I thought Rashford had a bad game. I thought it was appalling, by the way, was Rashford. And recently, to be fair, Rashford has rejuvenated himself. It wasn't too good yesterday. You've got a lot of United fans now saying that Andres Pereira is finished at the football club, because I thought, he was also poor yesterday. Maybe there was some periods of the game where, we looked on top, you know, controlled the ball and that, we did have some opportunities. I thought Rashford had some opportunities, but I just thought, he was wasteful in that attack of third of the pitch and that. Solskjaer did bring some substitutions on in the second half. Obviously, we saw Luke Shaw come on for Brandon Williams. Jesse Lingard came on for Juan Mata, like I said, and Mason Greenwood came on for Anthony Martial and that. Now you may get some people saying maybe Anthony Martial should be dropped and maybe Mason Greenwood should get more of an opportunity in that, because Mason Greenwood take into account has not yet started the game from the start in the league this season. He has starting in the cup games and that. But, in the games Mason Greenwood's played in this season, he's actually now been a revelation. And I do believe eventually, he will overcome Rashford. He'll overcome Rashford. And I think he'll eventually, become a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford. May even end up, overcoming Anthony Martial. Don't forget Mason Greenwood is only the age of 18, so he has still got a lot of development minimum that. But yeah, like I've said to you guys anyway, we need to see now a variety of changes at the football club. We need a change of management now. I think, we need to definitely recommend Mauricio Pochettino in. There's a lot of Manchester United fans now demanding Solskjaer out and demanding Pochettino in, because I think a lot of Man United fans believe that Mauricio Pochettino would be the right candidate for the football club. I don't only think we need a change of management. I think we also need. We need to recommend a new board in because our board have been a liability for several years. So I think we need to recommend a new board in definitely. I think also Ed Woodward needs to go. I think he's accountable, and he's been accountable for several years. So I think in a way he replicates the board. Ed Woodward though did recently assure Glasgow signings at Manchester United next year. But despite our disastrous start to the season, he's still convinced that Solskjaer can take Man United in the right direction, because he's still assured that his job is safe, regardless of the outcome, this season. That, but I don't think we'll put up with Solskjaer for much longer. And I still believe there's more players that do need to leave the football club. I still think we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players at least, despite the fact that a lot of players have left, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in. But I've got strong reservations about Solskjaer. For the vast majority of this season, he has been tactically naive. His substitutions and that have been questionable. He has tried a few different elements, to be fair, but Solskjaer just doesn't have that winning mentality. He doesn't have that fear factor. And we know none that's been there since the Alex Ferguson era, but he just doesn't have any of that, and he hasn't got a pedigree behind him as Solskjaer, and that's obviously another element of concern. That obviously before he came to Man United, he only managed 2 clubs, and that was obviously Mould. He did win a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. Obviously, before he was at Mould, he managed Cardiff. But analysing it, he only enjoyed a really short tenure with Cardiff. He only managed around 29 or 30 games. But the main factor reason he got sacked from Cardiff was obviously because he got Cardiff relegated and that. And he could even replicate this if he was to stay at Man United this season. He could replicate exactly what he did at Cardiff, because like I mentioned early on in the video, we are just 6 points above relegation. We've registered 18 points from a possible 42. We're 14 games now into the Premier League season, and we know that's in regarding points and that, we know that's nowhere near good enough to our current standards and that. And Solskjaer is not exceeding expectation levels at Manchester United. And there was no excuse, because we should have won that game yesterday against Aston Villa. We should have won that game yesterday because we rested the vast majority of our senior players, through the week against, last week. on Thursday against FC Astana. Obviously, Solskjaer recommended a lot of young players to Kazakhstan, don't forget. And that was good because obviously Solskjaer knew the game against Astana, was a meaningless game. So he decided, to play, most of the youth, and that obviously 14 teenagers were included in the squad. So the vast majority of the senior players, were rested against Astana. The only senior players that played against Astana, like I mentioned, was Luke Shaw, Tuan Zebe, Jesse Lingard, and of course Lee Grant. So there was no excuse here yesterday whatsoever. But yeah, it's definitely now time for them to change at the football club. And I know that, we've had injuries this season and that, but it's still not excusable really, for the way, we've performed. It isn't excusable. And obviously now players have recovered from injury now, now anywhere. Obviously, Luke Shaw's back, Tuan Zebe is back, don't forget. I know there's still a few out. Obviously, Bay's still out with a knee injury, and Diego Dalot's still out. Fosu Mensu's still out. Matic still out with a minor problem. Obviously, we know Pogba and Scott McTominay's out. But it's still not excusable in that. Obviously, we've got a big game on Wednesday. We've got a big game this Wednesday coming up against Tottenham. To be honest with you, I think we're going to get torn apart against Tottenham because, Tottenham have enjoyed a good start under the Jose Mourinho era. Jose Mourinho's enjoyed a fantastic start to his managerial career with Tottenham. Tottenham have won 3 out of 3. They've won 2 in the league. They won one in the Champions League. So Tottenham is going to be an extremely difficult game for us to have any chances getting anything off Tottenham. We've got to put a good performance out. And to be fair, we was lucky, to beat them at Wembley last season. I know it's Old Trafford now, but we was lucky to beat them at Wembley last season because, we got absolutely torn them apart in that second half. And, you can say David De Gea had saved us. But there's quite a lot of games where David De Gea has saved us, from total humiliation and that. But the positive is that Paul Pogba could be back for Wednesday. Obviously, don't forget in the press conference prior to the Aston Villa game, Solskjaer defended Paul Pogba's professionalism. Solskjaer does know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. He knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is, and he knows how much of a big mission he has been in that midfield. But Solskjaer did say, he's stepping up his recovery. He said, let's see how long, he will be match fit and available. So I think now he's closer to recovering from injury, he's probably because he's had. Pogba's had an ongoing ankle injury that's been surrounding the player for quite a few months now, and the last league game he did play was the 1-1 draw. Was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal earlier on in the season. But he has been a big miss. So could get that reunion with Jose Mourinho on Wednesday. Obviously, Paul Pogba and Jose Mourinho, did have a bad relationship at Man United, and this is probably one of the main reasons why we got rid of Jose Mourinho, and that could be another mistake for Man United. Actually, getting rid of Jose Mourinho. But Paul Pogba is out with an ankle injury. But Solskjaer said he's excited, that he's obviously nearing his return from injury. But, Paul Pogba, I still believe he's going to leave the football club next year without a shadow of a doubt. That's going to happen. I think he's going to orchestrate on leaving the football club in January. Now I think he's orchestrating on making a move to Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid was his preference during the summer and that. So now obviously he's got the same preference than what he had, for the entirety of the summer. If Pogba does go to Real Madrid, obviously, I presume we'll generate a substantial amount for him. We'll probably get over £100 million for Pogba, and probably with that money we can get probably 2 or 3 more players. But that's not really good business from the football club because we're just spending, what we generated and that. But regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes anywhere, we still need to address our midfield, basically. Like I said, I think we need two midfielders. We need an attacking midfielder. We also need a defensive midfielder. So that midfield is one of the priority areas where we do need to strengthen up. But Paul Pogba, he's 26 years of age. He's still in his prime. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him. And I know that he wants to leave because it allegedly said that Pogba was faking his injury. That's what some reports were allegedly saying to force a transfer away from Manchester United to Real Madrid. But it's very likely that Real Madrid will reignite their interest next year. There was also reports about him possibly making a return back to Turin during the summer, because he did enjoy 4 good years in Turin, but hasn't really replicated at Man United, what he did do with Juventus. Paul Pogba's still got, 2 years left in his contract term at Man United, with an option, to extend it by a further year. And he's on a substantial amount in the club, he's on around 290 grand a week. But yeah. News regarding McTominay. He didn't play yesterday against Aston Villa. Like I said, Solskjaer said during his press conference he was hopeful that he was going to be fit, for yesterday, but obviously, wasn't. So he should be playing on Wednesday, should McTominay. If not on Wednesday, he should be playing against Man City, on the 7th of December. So he should be playing against Man City on Saturday. So he will be back soon. Obviously, McTominay has been out with an ankle injury. Like I said, he has been a big miss. So McTominay now has missed the last 3 games for Man United. Solskjaer did confirm that he had returned home. But, don't forget, during the international break, McTominay had to withdraw from the Scotland squad due to his ankle injury. He had initial scans on his ankle to find out the extent of the injury, and it actually was quite severe. But, McTominay is closer to returning from injury. But analyse his performances this season, I've got to be honest with you, he has been a revelation, and he has deserved to keep his place in the team, to be fair. But yeah, so the good news is Pogba and McTominay are closer to getting back into the team. But Solskjaer did say regarding Pogba that it'd be like a new signing, when he does get back into the team and stuff. But yeah, obviously, like I said, reflect on the injuries we've had this season anywhere. Solskjaer has had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. So I'm going to say to you guys, I think I can pinpoint some games out this season, to be fair, though, where I think we have dominated and, we still haven't managed to win. You can say in the Wolves game earlier on in the season, you can say we dominated that game, especially in the first half, but didn't win. The Palace game at home, we had a lot of chances in that, but, we still managed to lose the game. And I thought in the games that we won, where we did well, I thought, we played very, very well against Brighton in that 3-1 win just before the international break. I thought we played very, very well in the Partizan Belgrade game at home, when we won 3-0. And we was in a good. We was built. There was momentum that was building. It was just before the international break, and we seemed to be in a good run of form, because before the international break, we'd won 5 of our last 6 games in all competitions. But obviously now, since the international break, we are winless in our last 3 games in all competitions. 3-3 draw with Sheffield United last week. 2-1 defeat to Aston, last Thursday, and 2-2 draw with Aston Villa yesterday. So, like I said, though, we definitely need a change of management now at the football club. But yeah, like I said, I would recommend Mauricio Pochettino in and that. According to the Metro yesterday, they said, Mauricio Pochettino's clause could stop us, from recommending him in to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because some report, I think, was it The Sun yesterday? I know it's not very reliable, but it said if Pochettino was to join another Premier League club, he would reportedly have to pay Tottenham just over £12 million. Or something like that and that. And Pochettino is linked with a job at Man United. Obviously, there's been talks about him going to Arsenal. Obviously, he held talks with Bayern Munich the other week. But I think, we need to get Mauricio Pochettino in, because obviously now we've reignited our interest in him. We've been long advised of him anyway, because reflecting back, before we recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, Mauricio Pochettino was our primary candidate. But obviously, we didn't get him. We didn't get him because at that time he was reluctant to leave Tottenham. Plus, like I said, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator, and plus we'd have had to pay some in compensation to recommend him in. I think, we'd have had to pay around, £32 million. But like I said, our preference was Solskjaer, because obviously the way we saw it, that, Solskjaer is a cheaper solution. Obviously as well, he knows the traditions and that of the football club. So this is a couple of reasons, why our preference, was Solskjaer. But analysing it, I think, Mauricio Pochettino is a better manager than Solskjaer. He's more experienced. He's good at developing young players. I think his brand of football is quite good. His philosophy was right for Tottenham. And I think if he comes to Man United, he can replicate Man United, what he did do with Tottenham. Because I thought Pochettino did enjoy 5 good years with Tottenham. The reason they sacked him, obviously, is because obviously Tottenham did initially enjoy a bad start to this season. And all that, but he did enjoy 5 good years with Tottenham and that. And I thought he also did have a good short tenure with Southampton when he was younger. Also managed Espanyol. So in total so far, he's managed 3 clubs. He's been managing for just over 10 years. As Pochettino. But my only element of concern about him is that obviously he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. So that's really my only element of concern. But I think a lot of people believe he would be the right man to elevate Manchester United forward. But there has actually, been quite a few managers on our agenda anyway who could replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think Pochettino is obviously our primary candidate. But like I said now, managers are getting sacked left, right and centre. Don't forget, Watford have just recently sacked their manager Sanchez Flores after just less than 3 months. Arsenal sacked Unai Emery, last Friday of last week. They sacked Unai Emery. Obviously Tottenham sacked Mauricio Pochettino a couple of weeks back. So managers now, like I said, are getting sacked left, right and centre now. I am very, very convinced that the next manager to be sacked will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, definitely. Will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, definitely. But, obviously we sack Solskjaer anyway. It's going to cost the club a substantial amount. Because don't forget, he's on a 3-year contract with the football club. Because Solskjaer had been given him 3-year contracts when he had been given the job permanently back in March earlier on this year. And that was one of the mistakes we did make. Was obviously giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. But, we've made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. And Solskjaer, is on around, not only on a 3-year contract, he's on around £7.5 million pounds a year. But he has been here nearly a year now in total as Solskjaer. But he's not the right manager, for Man United. Some people say we need to give him at least a couple more windows to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. Because you can still say still in the process of rebuilding, analysing the vast majority of this Man United team, it isn't his. There's only 3 players there that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. That I did recommend into the football club in the summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers and that. So I don't think they're accountable at all for our bad performances and results this season, because I think they've all done really, really well. But I just don't think our recruitment was good enough during the summer. But like I said, analysing it anywhere, our recruitment has been very poor for several years. So it's very imperative next year that, we get that our recruitment improves. We've also got to get the right calibre players to Man United. A massive rebuild is needed at the football club. I think we need at least 5 to 6, maybe even more than that, you could arguably say, if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and if we are to be a future title contenders. So we need about 6 more players. We need a change of management. We need a change of board. If things are to be turned around at Manchester United. But I did actually say at the start of this season that I didn't expect us to win the league this season. I didn't even expect us to challenge for the league. But one thing I did expect us is for us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. That's one thing I did assure, but obviously it hasn't to be, because we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years. But yeah, like I said, we do need a change of management now. That's for sure. But during the summer, like I said, anyway, we didn't address all the problematic areas. We didn't address all the problematic areas, and next year we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get a couple of midfielders in next year. We've also got to get a couple of attackers in, because we do look very exposed in that attacking line. We need someone to come in that can score goals, create more chances. Someone, of course, who can be more effective in the box. I think we also need a right winner. Definitely need a right winner. Not one of the main priorities is a right winner, but it would be beneficial to recommend one in, and possibly there's other areas in the squad as well that does need to be addressed. But I probably believe we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer, so we'll look to get probably 1 or 2 players in January. And then we'll look to do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. And reportedly we're going to get around £200 million to spend next year. Is £200 million enough, though, to address the deficiencies in the squad? Is it enough for us to bring the right number of players in? I think it's basically dependent on, where we are with our recruitment. We're going to be sensible with it. Or, are we going to overpay for players? And, we're known for overpaying for players, especially in recent years. And analysing it overall, a lot of money's been invested into the football club over the years, since the Alex Ferguson era and all the other managerial eras. A hell of a lot of money has been spent into the football club. Not only a lot of money's been invested into the club, also, we've got players on big contracts. So I also, wanted to take that into account. I also wanted to take that into account. So I did give you the latest news, didn't I, yesterday, regarding some more transfer news and that. And like I said, we have got quite a few players on our agenda, who we could go in for next year. But, I'm very, very sceptical about Solskjaer being here by January. I don't think he will be here by January. I can definitely assure him he won't be here at the end of the season. But he's still making plans for January anyway. So, like I did say, our 2 main priority targets are Erling Haaland from Red Bull Salzburg and Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. Both players are going to cost us a substantial amount. I think they are going to cost us in the excess of around £200 million, are both players. I've been reading recent reports about Erling Haaland, and it said that he's been scouted by around 11 clubs. So many clubs are attracting their interest in the player, because he has been a revelation for Red Bull Salzburg this season. He's been a revelation for them. He's scored 27 goals in 19 games in all competitions. He scored around 8 goals in the Champions League. So 8 of his goals have come in the Champions League and that. I think the beneficial thing about recommending Erling Haaland in is that obviously he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance. Obviously during his period with Mould, and Solskjaer's keen on on a reunion with the player. If Solskjaer is to be sacked by January, do you think we could drop our interest in Erling Haaland? But either way, could still be the right calibre player for Manchester United. Is only the age of 19, but I think it fueled more speculation the other week when Al Finch's father, Erling Haaland's, visited Manchester United's training ground. But I think he's going to cost us at least in the excess of around £60 million, maybe even more than that. But I think he would be a good replacement for Lukaku and Sanchez, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Would Erling Haaland. I think now Erling Haaland's obviously our preference over Mario Mandzukic, because we've initially now dropped our interest in Mario Mandzukic, like I updated you yesterday on that. Mario Mandzukic was looking destined to join Man United in January, but now our preference is Erling Haaland, so I don't think now we're interested in recommending Mario Mandzukic in. But regarding Jadon Sancho, again, I think he would be the right calibre player for the football club. It says quite a few teams have attracted their interest in Jadon Sancho. Real Madrid, Liverpool, and that us, and a few other teams have been in there for him. But overall, anyway, we've been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. We've been in for him for a long time. We was in for him during the summer. We also inquired about getting Jadon Sancho back in January. Well, back in January, early on this year, we identified him as our number one priority target, but the main factor reason why we didn't get him is due to our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But I did say when you're not in Champions League football anywhere, it's going to be harder to attract players to the elite level. Jadon Sancho is primarily a right winger. You can also play him century, but he is primarily a right winger. He is under contract with Dortmund until 2022. He's currently unsettled at Dortmund at the moment, so he's not satisfied with them. He has been dropped in games this season for Dortmund, so could become surplus to requirements, but I think he does want to leave, like he's recently admitted. So he could actually leave in January rather than next summer. I initially thought it's more likely to be next summer he will leave Dortmund rather than January, but could actually happen in January. Jadon Sancho's obviously going to cost us in the excess of around £100 million at least. We could maybe even pay more than £100 million for him. Dortmund got him for next to nothing from Man City. They only paid around £7 or £8 million for him. But obviously, analyse his performances in the couple of years with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown, basically. Only at the age of 19, by the way, so he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But yeah, he's one now. He's one of our main priority targets. So it's very likely we'll go in for Jadon Sancho in January. But him coming back to the Premier League, I think, will be beneficial for his career. Create a better platform for him and everything. I know he never really got the opportunities at Man City, but I think he'd do well at Man United and that. But he's the type of calibre player that we do currently need and that. So yeah, we have got a lot of players on our agenda. But I did say, didn't I, on one of my videos I did yesterday, I would definitely take Brendan Rodgers at Man United. He's another manager I would take. I'm very sceptical about Brendan Rodgers coming in. I don't think he's going to leave Leicester. That's what I'm very sceptical about. I think he's got one reservation about joining Arsenal, because obviously Arsenal. Brendan Rodgers is one of the managers on Arsenal's agenda as well, don't forget. Obviously Arsenal, and I presume us, if we were to go in for him, we'd have to probably we'd have to pay something to obviously recommend him in. I think Leicester are demanding around £14 million from Arsenal. If they've got any chances of getting Brendan Rodgers in. And overall, Brendan Rodgers is a pretty decent manager. Look what he's done with Leicester. He's got them to second in the league. Leicester yet again winning yesterday by 2-1 against Everton. Scoring late on. So Leicester are enjoying a really, really good season so far. But I think over the years anyway, Brendan Rodgers has emulated himself up. I think at Leicester, now this is his first full season, but initially joined in February. But at Leicester, he's replicating what he did at Celtic, because I thought he had a good 3 year or so with Celtic, won quite a few Scottish Premierships and Cups with them. Before I was at Celtic, I thought he did really, really well at Liverpool. I thought he enjoyed a good season with Liverpool. Then obviously, went all wrong. Then after that season, that good season he had. Don't forget he did quite well at Swansea as well. Obviously manager likes of Reading and Watford. Don't forget he also began his managerial career with Chelsea. So overall, he's a pretty good manager. And everyone thought Leicester, would have collapsed. Don't forget they lost the likes of Harry Maguire, to us during the summer. They got a substantial amount for his departure though, because Leicester didn't really want to lose him. They lost Raheem Mahrez in the summer of 2018 to Man City. They lost Danny Drinkwater and N'Golo Kante to Chelsea. So they've lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. But Leicester are doing really, really well. So credit to them. They remain 8 points behind Liverpool. Leicester, I don't think they'll win the league, but I think definitely Leicester are going to get top 4 this season, so they are going to get a qualification into the Champions League. I can definitely assure that. But Leicester have got some very, very good players. Surprisingly, Chelsea dropped points at home to West Ham on Saturday. Didn't think that would have happened. I didn't think that would have happened and that. So if Chelsea would have won, I think they'd have been 11 points clear of us now. Man City also dropping points at Newcastle 2-2. Man City obviously dropping points now. Got to say it's Liverpool's league now this season. They've got a big lead. I think they're around 10 or 11 points in front of Man City. They beat Brighton by 2-1. Did Liverpool. Obviously Arsenal dropped points again yesterday, drew 2-2 with Norwich. Obviously, don't forget Freddie Ljungberg's there on a temporary basis until obviously Arsenal do get a permanent manager in that. But yeah, so there's more videos to come up on this channel, by the way. Man United Tottenham preview should be coming up today. I presume Solskjaer will be doing his press conference today, won't he? Or if it isn't today, it will be tomorrow. But yeah, the match preview will be definitely coming up and that, guys. So join me for that. So I can't see us getting out for the next 2 games. I think we're, I just don't think we're going to get anything. I don't think we're going to beat Tottenham, and I don't think we're going to beat Man City. But yeah, I think I don't think we'll sack Solskjaer now. I think it's going to be after the City game, where I think, we're going to end his tenure at the football club, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, so that's your match reaction to the draw with Man United's draw against Aston Villa yesterday. And that's everything else to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.